Om Vangme Manasi Pratishthitam Manome Vachi Pratishthitam Aviravirma Edhi Vedasyama Ani Sthaha Shrutam Me Ma Prahasihi Anena Dhitena Horatran Samdadhami Ritam Vadishyami Satyam Vadishyami Tanmamavatu Tadvaktaramavatu Avatu Mam Avatu Vaktaram Avatu Vaktaram Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. All right. So we will speed up from number 5. Shukrebhih angai haraja atatanvan kratum punanach kavibhih pavitraich shochir vasana pari ayuch apam shriyo mimite brihatir anuna. With his bright limbs, he has built wide the middle world, purifying the wheel by the pure seer powers. Wearing light like a robe around the life of the waters, he forms his glories vast and ample. My interpretation, he has extended the whole space. Rajas is a space, vital space. By his luminous limbs, Shukrebhih Angaihi, purifying the creative will, Kratum Punana, by his pure seer energies, Kavibhih Pavitraich, literally by pure poets, purifying the will, wearing the luminous brightness around him, Shochich Vasanach Pari, Ayuch Apam, like the robe around the life force of the waters, he measures out or manifests Mimite Shriyach, all the glories, Brihatich, Anunach, vast and eternal. I added here, purifying the creative power by or with the poets or seers who are pure. So the seers and poets are the means of Agni to purify the vital space around them. They embody the flame and become a means for his expansion. So he may manifest the glories vast and eternal. It's some kind of interesting parallel in my mind from the human cycle, where Sri Aurobindo says that the man is the carrier of that transition towards the spiritualization of all nature. He is the means, yes. The poets are the means. The seers are the means who embody the flame and allow flame to work and to how to work, to purify the creative will. Yes, Kinshu.
I just wanted to ask, is the Kabhi Bhi Pavitra the same thing as Surya, the which is mentioned in other verses?
You mean the Suri as the luminous ones, yes?
Yes, yes.
Possible, yeah. Like luminous powers or the luminous beings, yeah, Suris, yeah, Suraya.
Okay. Okay.
Right, Kavi Bih. But Shubin always translates Kavi as the seer, never as a poet. Interesting. Most probably he wanted to emphasize the rishi aspect of the poet, the light, more than, actually it's from root ku, to speak, to sound. It's actually the one who is really sounding, vibrating with the sound, rather than seeing with the eyes. But still Sri Aurobindo always uses this in terms of seer, rather than poet, speaker. I'm just saying this because of my interest in the faculties of consciousness, seeing and hearing. So, ku is more hearing. All the words like ku, gu, pu, they all will have that cavity. Ku, kupa. Kupa is the cave. And cup, English or Latin, kup. That is the cavity, because there is a sound. It's more related to the space and sound rather than to the light and seeing of the eye. But still, Sri Aurobindo always, even here, pure seer powers. Kavibhih pavitra. What was interesting for me, that the human beings, or the embodied souls here in the body, becoming the means of the purifying of the willpower, of the flame, of the divine flame which is growing, who is growing here through us. And we are the carriers of this flame. Vavraja sim anada tich adabdha divoya huviha vasana anagnach sana atra yuvataya sayonich ekam garpaham dadhire saptavani. We've spent quite a lot of time on this the last time. He moved all round the seven mighty ones of heaven, undevouring, inviolate. Neither were they clothed, nor were they naked. Here, young and eternal, in one native home, the seven voices held in their womb the one child. My interpretation, he moved around and through these heavenly streams, which consume not, nor they subdue, being neither clothed nor naked, the ancient and young, and of one origin, the seven voices established the one child here. So there are seven planes of existence and seven actions of consciousness, seven streams of consciousness. There is one child. There is one being who is to be manifested. And now we come to the number 7, which we didn't read yet. Stirna asya samhatach vishvarubhach Garitasya yonau sravathe madhunam asthu khatra dhenavach pinvamana mahi dasmasya matara samichi. Wide strewn, stirna means stretched all over. Compact, samhatach, taking universal forms. Vishvarupach, his energies in the womb of the light. Garatasya yonau, in the streaming of the sweetnesses. Sravathe madhunam, here the milk cows stand nourished and growing. Asthu khatra dhenavach pinvamana. Pinvamana literally filled or fat, full of substance. Dhenavach, the cows, the nourishing cows, the milk cows, full of milk. Asthu, stood, atra, here. Mahi Matara. So the great mothers, Matara, Mahi Matara, Dasmasya, of the one who does perfect work, Samichi, looking at each other or becoming are one. So the two great and equal companions are the mothers, the doer of works. There is a footnote for companions, or vast and whole. Samichi, companions. Literally, Samanchi is like looking at each other, or looking in one direction, or looking together. You know? It's interesting because heaven and earth, or night and dawn, are mentioned also as Samichi. They are with a one mind, Samanasa, and they do different works, but with one mind. So to say, they are looking in one direction. My interpretation: vast, extended, and compact are his energies like universal limbs. In the womb of clarity, Ghrutasya Yono, in the flood of honey streams, Saravathe Madhuna. The milking cow stood here full of milk, Astuhatradhenavah Pindvamana. The two great mothers, Mahi Matora, of this skillful fulfiller, Dasmasya, stood together and were one, Samichi. Here the thought comes immediately that the two mothers are day and night, or the dawn and night, the transcendental undivided Aditi and the dividing consciousness deity. They work together to manifest the flame, manifest the divine as one son and one child. So they are both here needed. That's why they stay together and were one in this work. Though they occupy the same space, kind of in alternation, they are constantly changing the space. Yes, the day comes and then the night comes, but it is the same space. They are working on the same space together. So it is all about his energies. Yeah, the whole verse is about his energies in the womb of the light, or in the womb of clarity. I'm using this word from Sri Aurobindo's translation of Garita. Garita is the mental clarity where the mind is charged with the spirit and changes its nature, becomes transformed into the spiritual mind. So in the womb, in the space which this clarity holds, in the streams of the honey, Sravathe Madhunam, they wide stern, strewn, and or vast extended, although they are compact. Samhat could be also of him compact, also can be. Compact, interesting word. I do not know. Concentrated, focused. That could be the where there is no kind of dissolution of the substance or energy. It is compact, it is focused, it is packed, or packed, the word I was looking. So they are spread vast and packed with their substance, yeah. So there is no gap there in between. It's not like a little bit light here and then darkness and a little bit light there. No, it's not that spreading. They are spread and covering the whole space, yeah, totally packed, packing the space with their presence. We are coming to number 8. Babharanach suno sahaso vi adyaut dadhana shukra rabhasava pumshi shchotanti dharach madhuno ghritasya vrishayatra vavriddhi kaviyena. Babharanach suno sahaso vi audyat dadhana shukra rabhasava pumshi shchotanti dhara madhuno ghritasya vrishayatra vavriddhi kaviyena. Upborn, O son of force, thou shinest out wide, holding thy bright and rapturous bodies. There drip down streams of the light and the sweetness. There, where the bull has grown by the sea of wisdom. So the bull, the Lord, is grown Vavridhe with his kaviyena, with kavya, with the poet, poetic expression, or sea of wisdom, with poem, with the hymn. O son of force, being born by them, by these energies, luminous energies mentioned before, you cast light wide, establishing the bright and violent forms. Bright and violent forms, interesting. The streams drip of sweetness and of clarity where the bull grew strong by the word of the seer. I put another translation here, kind of coming through your mind when you read it. Today I did this. Supported and carried by the cows full of milk, he shines wide. Supported and carried, Babharanach. It is he himself, yes, it's with a passive or Atmanepada meaning. Suno sahasach. So, O son of strength, you are born or carried, supported and carried by those streams. We adyaut, shine wide, or he shines wide, carried by those streams or cows full of milk mentioned in the previous verse. Dadhana Shukra Rabhasava Punshi, establishing his luminous and rapturous bodies. Or beauties, Vapus is also beauty, beautiful form, perfect divine forms establishing all over. Shchotantidhara madhuno ghritasya, and dripping, or the streams of honey and clarity flow there. Yatra, where the Lord is constantly growing. Vavridhe, the Lord Vrishan. Vrishan is the bull of the Lord, where the Lord is constantly growing by the expression of the poet. Kaviyena. So this expression of the poet, of the Rishi, is essential for the consciousness, the luminous consciousness, to grow in manifestation, yes? And manifest the divine. This is the way to go. It cannot be manifest differently. That consciousness needs the mental being, the mental expression, the man, the mind, needs to be expressed and to colonize and to transform our nature into the divine nature. We can see it throughout all the time. only we never pay attention to it in this way. So once we think of it, that we are needed, that we are the means, the human beings, to manifest that higher consciousness. So as Sri Aurobindo says, unfortunately, in this human civilization, especially starting from the materialism and scientific paradigm which dominated in the West, coming with the industrial age, because of failure to transform life by the means of religion, by the means of spiritual kind of aspiration, they saw that life is not really easily giving in to the spiritual transformation or to the mind. Mind cannot handle life, only partially. It can create a moralistic, attitude or this or that, or religious norms and suppress life and kill life. And because of that, Sri Aurobindo says, the shift has taken place in the Western mind because life is much more perfect. Life is managing all living creatures, plants and animal kingdom in a perfect manner. Nobody is here to be imperfect. It's much more perfect than human beings. Human beings are, as he says, freaks of nature. They don't fit into the natural arrangement. Nature is managing the life through subconscious instincts and powers which she generated and created for this management. But human beings, they got the mind, the intellect, the reason. And this reason should be the link to the highest spiritual, realms. But because of its nature being transitional, so to say, to support something else than subconscious management of life, it had to bring the superconscious, supra-rational management of life into action, and it failed many times to do so. So in the materialism of the West, it took a turn towards the perfection of life as it is. So life is perfect. All the instincts are okay. So the reason became a servant of life instinct. This is what happened in the Western mind. Now, if you look at it, you will see it immediately clearly, that what is happening to the mind, it justifies all the movements and instincts of life force and nature. Yeah? It tries to find the meaning in it. It tries to find the freedom in it. Everybody has a free choice to choose whatever instincts, desires he has. They have to be realized. Yeah? It is becoming an advocate for the subconscious management of life. This is what happened. And it became the reason of 2 world wars, as Sri Aurobindo says. But the moment mind is not fulfilling its purpose, that means bringing supra-rational influence on life, but justifies the life as it is, then the life grows through it and claims its own way of being. That means expansion, domination, realization of all desires, and this became the reason for the 2 world wars. Amazing. It's truly speaking mind-blowing if you look at it. And it is totally true. You can see it immediately. What we are justifying now, it is all these sexual desires, all the forms of comfort for life, yeah, pleasures, food. Just look at it, what mind is doing. Yeah? Mind is absolutely advocating the life's needs, nothing else. This is the top of the desire of life or the meaning of life, the realization of life's desires, nothing else. There is no ideal. Ideals are to be more comfortable, to be more established, to be more satisfied with life desires. That's it. And this is the ideal of humanity today. So the mind betrayed its function, its purpose, to be the mediator between the spiritual suprarational realms and life, and to bring the spiritual influence upon life. Here, in the Vedas, it's not so. The mental being, kaviyena, by the mental man, by the man who expresses higher consciousness in his mind. There is Ghritam. Ghritam is the transformed mental clarity by the spirit. These are the forces the man has to bring into action upon life. And then life is slowly being transformed, changes its nature, and is no more regulated by subconscious powers of instincts of nature, but superconscious powers and suprarational powers of the spirit. So this is the ideal of man, why man is here, why Sri Aurobindo says man is a transitional being, because he has a mind. He's a freak of nature. He's an abnormal in the normality of nature, abnormal. But that abnormality is his strength and weakness. So to become normal, he decided to serve life. Back to the nature, back to the forest, back to the cave, become caveman, barefoot, loving nature. So everything natural is good. Everything suprarational is bad. We saw it. In our time. It was our time. And he says that only India and Asia still kind of, though they are sleeping, though they are in dust, they didn't deviate from this ideal of trying to bring suprarational into action. Though the gap was created between nature and suprarational, and nature had to be dropped because it was so difficult to bring it and to make it work, it was rather laziness of the spirit or laziness of their commitment to this ideal that created the gap. Amazing. He explains all things. If you read the human cycle, you will see all where we are and what is really happening to us today. And what is to be done. Yes, Kinshuk, you wanted to say something.
Perhaps it is because the mind thinks that it will end when life ends, and it is scared. And this lack of understanding that it will not end is one way of overcoming the forces of life.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, I think so.
We are too worried about being the mind being subservient to life because it ends when life ends, we think.
Even if it ends, and it is actually a transitional, it is a link, the link between the spirit and life. Of course, life ends also for the individual. Everything ends: physical life, vital life, mental life. Only the spiritual life stays, or the spirit, the soul. Even that, about that we know very little, or in experience we know nearly nothing. So the point is more, in my view, the point is that being unable to transform life, by the spiritual means, mind decided not to fight with life. And that created materialism. So instead of fighting with life, look at life as the wisest, power, and it is. Sri Aurobindo says it's the wisest management of nature. It created perfect creation, which is sustainable. Where do you have sustainable creation? By itself. Nature is a sustainable creation, by instincts. It takes care of everyone. Every day I go to feed cats here. We have wild cats here in our barn. I see how they behave. Nature takes care of them. They don't think about themselves as, they have to manage their lives. No. Nature sends rain and sends cold, sends warm, sends food to them. They are totally given to nature and safe with that. They will live or die. There is no point in beating around the bush or trying to manage it differently. So, human beings are different, very different. They got this free will of the mind. And so that free will can lead us either to the supra-rational or to the infra-rational. It can go anywhere, in any direction. This is the freedom. This is our free choice. We can become like gods, or we can become worse than pigs, as somewhere Vivekananda says. Yes, it's our choice. We can choose where to go and what to support in our being, because we grow from the most inconscient to the most superconscient. Yeah? We have all the links in place. Now, which links we want to activate? And this is the mind. Nature, you see, created animals, they are innocent and they're perfect in their being. It's amazing if you think of it. Sri Aurobindo says a human being is imperfect, but animals are perfect. Though human being is a freak of nature, is greater than the animal kingdom, though still he is imperfect. Imperfect because he is a transitional being. He has to fulfill his mission to bring the spirit into life. This is the purpose why we are here. And until it is done, nothing is done. And transformation must take place. One thing is to bring some stream of presence. Once in a while we feel it through our being. When we come here to study the Veda, we feel the higher meaning and purpose of life. But to transform life is altogether much more difficult task. And until life is transformed, as he says, until our will center is shifted to the supra-rational, so we look at ourselves as supra-rational beings, and the purpose of our life is supra-rational life, until then, we are not transformed. So we are still, willpower is still in the vital and physical living. We are still bothered mainly about them, how to survive physically and vitally, and not bothered about how to be supra-rational. We are not viewing ourselves in that way. Our will is still centered here below. It has to be uplifted to the above. And intellect, reason, plays here the central role. Yeah?
I had a discount Vladimir actually says plants, and we always in the biology books and also in some books they say that plants have their own intelligence. So then, but it's not like their state of consciousness. It does not reach the supra, like it does not reach where we can reach, right? I'm just trying to understand how does it change.
Well, how we will see it in action, I guess, how it will happen. But that what we have to do, we have to know what we have to do. Right? That means all those means which intellect created, our ethics, aesthetics, philosophy, It is for this we live. Yeah, these are the forms in the intellect, in the mind, which are semi-divine forms. They are not yet divine. They are transitional forms. They are far from being kind of total means for the transformation of life, because they are incapable of doing it. Philosophy cannot transform life, or ethics, or moralistic approach, or aesthetics, sense of beauty which which we develop in our mind, an understanding of beauty and beatitude. I don't think these are the final means or energies, but they are the product of that search, of that idealism. And so they have to grow. They should not be discarded because we couldn't transform life. We were much in a hurry to see the results of transformation and didn't see them, and that's why we gave in to support life with its instincts. And I can so clearly see it. I remember when Freud was traveling to America first time on the boat. You know what he said on the boat? It's quite interesting. It's recorded somewhere. And that Americans do not know what bomb I am bringing to them. And he brought them the bomb of the infrarational treatment of life. It's all about this beating around the bush. Just look how the whole Western civilization changed with this view on the libido, on the sexual drive, or the father and son relations. All that became a religion of the meaning of life. So this shift towards the lowest subconscious management of life took place. And no wonder that we live this life. And it is self-destructive, Shrivindu says. It will destroy itself. And it started to destroy itself. First and Second World War, that's where the attempts to destroy itself. This philosophy, this vision, this service of the mind cannot sustain it, cannot sustain life. There will be attempt to create, of course, some mechanical means like AI or the technology, which will substitute somewhere or will allow us to continue as human beings because of this wrong turn we took. So we have to redirect our mind towards the ideal, towards the spirit. We have to charge it with its light. Make Ghritam, make it luminous and clear. And then with that clarity, with those streams of honey and rapture, we have to approach life and teach life to accept these streams of honey. Life would love to do that. It's a different enjoyment of life. It's not the subconscious management of instincts.
I have one question. When we talk about willpower in vital and physical these days, but has Shirvindo given any solution to that? Like how to move the will beyond physical and living? Like, is there, like, can we read it somewhere or can you explain?
Yes, it's a yoga. It's called yoga. Yeah. When we reorient all our aspiration towards the highest in us, towards the truth, towards the immortality. So the very ideal, the very thinking of it is already uplifting the mind. You think about this, you want it. You want to be the divine spiritual, not just to manage instincts and to be satisfied in the vital and physical, though he says it's also a part of the deal. But once the spiritual will be established, then that deal to satisfy physical and vital instincts will change us. The spiritual presence will show to them their divine properties and how to properly enjoy the instincts in the life and the physical. It is something which is to be discovered by life force still. It's not discovered, it's managed by subconscious. But it will not suppress any instinct of life. It will not suppress any need of the body. Interesting, amazing. It will just show them the divine element in them and the better way of living and being. And they will go for it. This is the transformational movement of the spirit.
I have a question.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I remember in some Upanishads it was said that don't go for pleasant, go for good. And I think, I don't remember which Upanishad it was, but I think they were speaking like we are all blind, going like in a round circle without seeing the way. So it's accordingly, I mean, it's the same context what you are touching now. Then once you go for good, after a while it become pleasant because you're learning how to be in correct direction. So, but don't go for pleasant. You don't remember this?
Yeah, I
which
remember Katha Upanishad, yes.
It's Katha. Okay. I just wanted to. It came to me just now because of what we are talking about.
We had a big dispute with Kinshuk on good and pleasant. Yes.
Okay.
Kinshuk as Bengali believes that pleasant is also part of the good.
No, I changed my mind after that. No.
Well, it is in a way, in the highest sense, it is true. Yeah, pleasant is there. And Sri Aurobindo, in this Human Psychology, chapter 22, if you want to know, he speaks about this, that freedom and the instincts, even of nature, even of the body, those instincts will not be suppressed by the spirit. They will be enlightened. They will be, how to say, revealed their divine properties and their divine purpose and meaning and function. So they will start acting differently and much more efficiently and bring more of delight, even on their own level. Not only spiritual delight has to come, but it will kind of unfold the hidden delight in them, yeah, which they could not find. So this is the transformation.
Vladimir, just a small thing. You mentioned AI in this regard, but the forces of AI will be used as much for good as well as for evil.
Yeah.
And the thing will just continue in the same way.
Sure. It's like intellect. It can serve the instincts of life or it can serve some higher purpose. But because of speed and clarity, mental clarity, which AI has, it will give us more, I think, impact or push towards finding something more. So now AI can do such a good job, for mental formulation of things and give us knowledge immediately available. Many people started to use it, and they love it because it gives you clarity. It's not like you're browsing through the internet, You are getting focused, and you can discuss with the AI. You can say you meant something else. You didn't mean this. You wanted to know about this, and it will adjust its answer to your needs, which is not the case with browsing. AI is a tool. Yeah, it's nothing else.
I just wanted to come back to practical application, how to turn towards the light and how to establish the correct life, daily life. Then you cultivate within yourself some particular aspiration and you nourish it within yourself to change life, because it also depends on your will today life, what you are, how you're applying yourself, where the energy goes towards, right? So isn't it connected to the mother's work of 4 austerities and 4 liberations? One
Oh,
could
yeah,
maybe
absolutely.
start.
Absolutely.
Yes, one could start from that. It's a small book and it's so, I mean, helpful if one wants really to, you know, to do discipline, because it's a discipline in a way. Our body, our vital need repetition of particular offering daily and to do something, I mean, to grow up into the energy we want to see. Otherwise, we only can think about it and do not do much to dedicate to something different, to see light in front of you. Otherwise, I mean, there is no use to live then. Voila,
Yeah,
this was
and
just my point.
yeah, usually people think that way, that thinking is something lofty and away from the practicality of life, and practical practicing and doing things is much more doable, and it is so. But practice also can become a routine, and the same as thinking can become a routine, like the ritual, with no meaning anymore. You repeat, and you go round and round, going nowhere. So it's all depends on that aspiration or that true, fresh perception of things, as we discussed before with Shakti today. That freshness has to be there, that innocent look for the truth. Whatever the means in the mind is the means. It is the link to the spiritual. We cannot be without it. To think that mind is an obstacle is the biggest mistake. Because if we start making mind their obstacle and subdue it to the instincts of nature, then what we did, that's exactly where we are. So mind is the means of our liberation. It has to be enlightened. It has to be the formulation of knowledge, luminous knowledge of the Veda has to take place in the mind. We have to know what we are here for. We have to make right choices. It's the mind which makes right choices, nobody else. It's the mind who will make 4 austerities and 4 liberations possible. If the mind is not there, there is no way to proceed. Yeah? So it's first we need to deal with our mind. And then once mind knows what it is for, even then it's not enough, because as Sri Aurobindo so beautifully describes in this chapter, he says that because life is not transformed and mind tries to transform it, there are still many agents of nature there waiting to take advantage of the incapacity of mind to transform life. And they pop up every time. There are many traitors there waiting to drag us down, to discourage us, to make us, to boycott the mental, luminous influence on life. They boycott. You become kind of void of energy. You lose the interest in life. You become discouraged. You become frustrated. Fear comes of life, physical life. Why should you die like this without any meaning? This is all the boycott of those forces which do not want to transform. And until life is transformed, this will go on. We will always slip, always fall. So we have to be ready to fall. And to know that we are falling because the nature is not ready for taking light into as its guide yet, totally. There are many forces which we have to deal with. So this is in a way an encouragement of some kind that we have to face in our life. Not to be discouraged every time. I was always discouraged. How is that even possible? How many times you have to really fall to become this unconscious being, fall into some kind of mechanical way of living? And but this is inevitable. So let us look at ourselves and others without judging them for falling. We need to understand what is happening with others, why they fall, why they are so severely fall, even. It's like...
I just want to add something encouraging, maybe. We have to remember that we are not alone. Then there are so many white, beautiful, luminous forces which are encouraging and just waiting for us to lift up a little bit. They're always having their hands towards us and encouraging every moment. Please open your heart, open your mind. You are not alone. We always support you. So to remember that, it really feels like you are in a big pool of beautiful light and care. And so we have to remember that. Then we will be always supported on the path to make a right choice. So I just know by myself. So therefore, I share with you. So we don't need to be discouraged.
No, we don't. Even if we are discouraged, we know what happens. That this is the resistance of... and so we can take our discouragement as something like not discouraging too much. Encouragement.
At last, I understood what the Vedic war is all about. Thank you, Vladimir, today. This is the war, basically,
This is the
right?
war. Yeah, absolutely. Bringing the spirit into nature, into life. These are the forces resisting Rakshasas, Asuras, Paishachas, Shushnas, and so on, Vrikas, yeah, Dasyas, Danavas. They are all there. They all want to maintain their, status quo because they already established something by instinct. They want to live the way how it is being managed. They don't want to change. And these forces are filling us up. They come as to us as a helper, as the one who will transform them, or give them true life, true meaning. They want to fight with us. Either they win, that means we are not ready. And that's what Sri Aurobindo beautifully says. When they win, when these powers win and you are discouraged and you are in fear, in darkness, that means you are not yet, didn't yet find that power which may transform it. So you're kind of pretending you're not yet there, yeah. So you're not totally sincere in your application, which makes totally sense. Yes, once that power is there, the transformation takes place, and you are free from that. But again, not forever. It kind of removes its influence and then it comes back again and again, and it has to be repeated many times until it is done. And this is even more discouraging. You cannot do it at once, even with your best effort. Yeah, it will reappear in another form or in the same form when you are weak. Or it will even weaken you in the moment that you will not be so sharp and you will disconnect with the spirit and come back as an offering of another type of life, and you fall for it because there is nothing else in you in that moment.
But how many times, how long does it take that it completely transforms and never comes?
Well, you are young. Believe me, I am already old. And I'm telling you, it is not going anywhere. So, start, when you are young. The faster you start, the better. The more you can do in this life. And every effort, by the way, Arjuna asks the same question to Krishna, as you remember in the Gita. But how can we manage this? It's like the wind which you want to catch. You cannot really restrain life with its desires and its impulses and its instincts. And Sri Krishna says, you can with the application, with the abhyasa, with the repetition, with everyday effort. And he says, but if at the end of life you will not reach that status or that aim, so what will happen to you then in the next life? Will you perish like the cloud in the sky? That's what it is. Shri Krishna says, no, you will not perish like the sky in the cloud in the sky. You will be born in the better conditions and continue your effort. This is what it is. So every effort counts. And this is what I want to say. It's not, even if you don't see the result, it counts. But to change the mind and turn it away from the spirit to the instincts of nature is the biggest mistake. To refuse to make the effort for spiritual transformation. One thing is to fail all the time, and another is to refuse and to change the whole meaning of life. Yeah? Instincts is the meaning of life. Well, all right. Very nice. Nice discussion. Robin is here already, coming back from India. Yes, Robin.
Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, we got in a little after midnight last night.
Right. Nice.
So it was a late night. It's nice to be home. Good to see all of you too.
Yes, nice to see you here. And Jayashree is here also.
I was just thinking, Vladimir, isn't this process that we each have to go through, isn't it just a question of refining the degree to which our ego and our sense of separate self needs to surrender to the divine, and that will be presented with ever increasing degrees of the need to surrender as we go through life. In the beginning, it might be very fundamental and very simple, but ultimately, if we give ourselves over completely to the divine, then there isn't so much of a sense of self-will and, using our own intelligence and our own cleverness to get by in life.
If you can give yourself totally to the divine, definitely you don't need to do more. And the divine will create in your mind all the means necessary, in your vital, all the means in the body. It will shape your body. The problem is that we can't stay in that particular always giving. You can do it once, and then 5 minutes later you forget, and the vital pops up, and the need to eat, and the need to sleep, and the need to take care of your body, and the need to have fun, and not to be discouraged, and the need to, and you are discussing with someone and he offends you and you feel offended and hurt. So all that thing somehow escapes your surrender to the divine. So you surrendered centrally, you gave yourself kind of with your will, with your decision. I'm speaking from experience, yeah? And then other traitors, as Shibina says, hiding there, waiting for their chance to come back, and they come back where they in the most unexpected moment, in your thoughts, in your feelings, in your comparison, in your judgment, in our body movements, in our everything. It's not transformed. It is only idealistically giving itself to the divine. It's like philosophy of some kind, or the ideal of psychology, and then following it mentally, looking what will happen or what is happening if. That's the work we do, all of it. But it is never successful enough, because we always slip somewhere on down, because our central will is still here. in the vital
We
and
do get, but we do get better at it. I mean, we can improve, hopefully. And we learn something and we get, more refined at it, and things that used to bother us don't bother us, or we find a better way of dealing with things.
Right. Or we become better hypocrites also, because we, as Sri Aurobindo says, we separate life on the spiritual part and the normal instinctive life. It is still here in the field, grazing still there somewhere. No? Some grazing, eating the it has its field for enjoyment. We separate it on the religious, secular, and sacred life. Notice, look at our society. We have religious laws and secular laws. So this is the result of that separation. We could not manage our life by the religious idea of the spiritual self-finding. We could not manage it. So we separated it into two different parts. In India, they've tried not to separate, and they created Advaita. They separated altogether nature, cast it away, saying that it is an illusion. Matter is an illusion. So there was no other way to maintain that, commitment to spirit. Amazing how difficult the task is of transformation. So it's not in, yes,
just this question coming up. Now we were talking about transformation, and you have both the ascent and the descent as well, right? Now, when we are looking at hymns to the mystic fire, the fire which is purificatory, I mean, it's looking at effort, will, and the individual will joining the divine will. The movement is always like this, at least in my mind. So,
upward, yeah.
yeah. So does Agni play a role in the descent as well? Or like, is water a kind of symbol for the descent?
Oh, yeah. Agni is everywhere, but of course we look at it as the quest or aspiration from within. The being within is aspiring for its divine property, for its divine realm, and the help, the grace from above answers to this call. So we invoke and we receive the help. And that help which comes from above is Mahashakti, or Mahakundalini, which descends and meets the flame. In the Veda, it is beautifully described as Agni is calling to the dawn, to the mother, and she dawns on him from above. She is the one whom he approaches as a beggar for delight. Our Agni is a beggar, begging for delight from the dawn. And she comes to him and descends upon him. And then he grows vast and occupies the whole universe. With her intrusion, with her answer, he finally can occupy the whole space. So these are two, yes, the call and the answer, constantly. In other places, it is described that Agni is also in heaven, and it is him in the form of the Father. Here he is in the form of the Son. And, well, it's just a matter of speaking of the symbolism. Great. Okay, we will stop here for today. I will close with mantra. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santo Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.